Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I welcome Mr. Asutosh Nayak, and he will speak on the topic transforming cold storage with solar power for stronger communities. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you for the great opportunity given to us to highlight some of the activities that we're doing on the ground related to the cold chain and how the innovation is all about and how it's empowering the communities. So, in before I begin my presentations, I just want to give you few highlights on certain pressing statistics in India. So, all of us know that our population is increasing, which means we need food, and the food requirement is also increasing day by day. At the same time, I think the wastage, the food wastage, it is about 1 lakh crore every year in India. So that's something is alarming. At the same time, the climate change is happening, and everyone is aware of it. That is not only affecting different domains of the society, but also the food security as well. And apart from that, I think the farming community, they are more inclined towards doing other businesses if given an opportunity. So that's also like around 80% of the farmer community might go on to other places if they're given much more opportunities and so on. So this means that there is something which we need to work out, and that's where uh, we as a team has been working on reducing the food wastage or the spoilage through interventions of cold chain. And how that is being done? That has been done with the help of the communities, the cooperatives. And today I'm just trying to showcase you one project in Rourkela. It is basically empowering the small farmers with community managed refrigeration systems, entirely managed by the women self-help group. And this is also solar powered. And after running this project, we have seen that how the members who are using these cold rooms, they have reduced their wastage by 75%. So in Rourkela, the large quantity of the uh, the ripe produce was getting spoiled before reaching the buyers and was severely impacting the farmer livelihood. And due to this, and this was happening because of the long travel distance to the marketplace. And during this commute, their produce was exposed to high temperature, leading to spoilage. We had an observation that about 15 to 20% of the produce gets damaged due to heat exposures, and even 30 to 40% of the farmers who are transacting here in Rourkela are forced into distress selling to avoid further losses. And as a result, the farmers experience reduced income and have become hesitant to increase their production, which limits their overall growth potential. So in this case, in 2021, just 4 years back, the Rourkela Municipal Corporation, along with our team Koel, we applied for a program called uh, Global Mayor Challenge, and we received a grant from the Bloomberg Philanthropies to set up a few cold storage in the market yards and provide technical assistance to pilot the innovative solutions to its critical challenge. Now, what the solution was all about? So, so here the solution was basically divided into two components, two key components. One is the infrastructure, where everyone understands that, yeah, the cold room is there, means there is an infrastructure, there is a cold room, there is a compressor, there is a solar systems to power that cold room. There are multiple chambers are there so that multiple commodities can be kept inside it and so on. So here in this, we also developed the similar things like cold storage, solar power, and the backup system as thermal storage, remote monitoring system to see that how the health of the entire systems we can monitor remotely. So that we reduce any issues happening across. And that's where it helped to provide us the reliable, read independent storage systems, giving smallholder farmers a better control over when they can sell and what price they can receive and so on. But apart from the advanced cold storage solution infrastructure, the three major components, or you can say three criteria, came under the ecosystem development. That is community-driven model, the ongoing capacity building, and revenue diversifications. And I would like to highlight these points in a more detailed way because these are the ecosystem around the cold storage is very, very important as compared to the infrastructure. And in community-driven operations, we found that the local women self-help groups or the farmer cooperatives, they have the ability to lease and manage the cold rooms and independent enterprises. And that leads to local ownership build trust. So when the women members were working in Rourkela, that is helping the farmer communities to build a good trust with them, and they start keeping the vegetables inside it and ensuring a long-term sustainability and increase the income opportunities for even for the women who are keeping or managing or operating the cold room. Then the second point comes about the capacity building. So we wanted to ensure that whoever was operating it, they should be completely trained in terms of business, leadership, and technical skills, so that they can support the farmers with the guidance on how on storage benefits and key decision makings, like the informed decision makings. And that is where the daily coaching was enabling the SAGs to run the cold room more independently and to provide diversified income services to the farmers. And apart from that, we also introduced something called revenue diversification into our ecosystem, because we understood that running the cold rooms is something as a seasonal area where most of the like 4 to 5 months or 3 months, there might not be commodities enough to get into the cold storage. At the time, what these self-help women will do? So here they developed something called multiple revenue streams. So doing a market linkage, creating a kind of a retail market, which we'll see also, and also doing some bulk procurement for hotels and hospitals. And that was helping them to keep on gaining their income along with what income they were getting through the cold room rental fees collected by from the farmers. So with this uh, process, we could actually in 2 years we could engage like 5 operating cold rooms run by around 90 women self-help groups members for the self-help group, and benefit about 1,500 farmers. And we had a like external evaluations by the JPAL team, where we could see that there was a 75% lower food wastage. There was income increment in the women members who are operating this cold room by 62%. And there has been farmer income increment by 26%. And this 26% came due to various factors. One is that the food loss was reduced. The the distress cell, the quantity, it also got reduced. The third is that that gave a confidence to the farmers to think more, bring more, transact more, and that is why the quantity also got increased, and as a whole the income level of the farmer got increased, and so on. So there was a typical figures, and due to this uh, figures, we thought that how this work can be also proliferated and increased, and so on. And we have been provided, and as you know that as the UNDP or United Nations Development Goals 17 states that a partnership for a larger goal. And in that, this case also, we had a lot of partnerships, a lot of stakeholders into this project, being a strategic partner or being a implementation partner. And we were one of them as an implementation partner on the ground. But Bloomberg Philanthropies was the funding agency. The the horticulture department of Odisha came into picture as to provide all the facilitation supports. The R&D partner was NIT Rourkela to look into various perspective of how the cold rooms can be managed more technically sound and more effectively, and so on. So there was various partnerships involved in this, and these are the key focus areas, you would say. So this is typically a cold room. And above the cold rooms we have the solar panels, and these solar panels used to offset the electricity cost, and as well as there was a thermal storage batteries. So we don't use these chemical battery here, we use the thermal storage batteries, which helps to keep it cool even for 2 days, even when the solar is not there or even the grid is not there. And we do everything as the remote monitoring technology is available, so that we remotely monitor how all these technology interact and also react to it. The second component, which I also mentioned, that this is basically run by the cooperatives. So here our SAGs are operating in Rourkela. So local women SAGs, they manage it as an independent business units, and that actually fosters the long-term trust and sustainability to the project. And here you can see that there has been the various learning tours across various members from Odisha who came down to Rourkela to have a insight out how these SSGs are doing it and so on, in terms of storage, in terms of product sales, in terms of aggregation, so on. The third important component is basically the revenue diversification market linkages. Here, our SCGs did not only depend on one income, that is the rental from the cold rooms, but rather they had diversified incomes. Like they had connections with the hotels, hospitals, restaurants, events, and so on, where they could sell the items directly from the cold rooms to those places, and that actually adds the income level to them. They are also supporting the senior citizens in getting the products directly into the doorstep. So that's called home delivery. And the fourth component is basically they have a small outlet. So they think that they just don't want a small office to just sit and operate the cold rooms, but also they can keep the millet items, healthy products, value-added items into these outlets, which will help them also to gain some income level from there. So that actually drive that income, and today when we collect is all the five SHGs, they are earning in a to the tune of around 30 lakhs per month revenue. And if we tune to the profit, it is about 3 to 4 lakh rupees. So that is something which they started with 1,000 or 1 lakh rupees, and now they're at 30 lakhs in that, say, in the per month and so on. And above all, the capacity building. I think that is very, very important, which our team took stress on. That not only the training has to be there, but along with that, we also do the handholding support for about 1 year to 2 years to see that everyone is aware what they have to do, how they have to do, and so on. In terms of business, in terms of technical, in terms of marketings, in terms of dealing with different stakeholders, and so on, because this project calls for dealing with various stakeholders, be it the government department or be it different entities in the society, like the hotel persons or the suppliers, the logistic persons, and so on. And this is where our SHGs has to be trained enough to deal with these areas. So these are the basic things which we do, and along with that, and that drives the entire ecosystem. And with that process, now the Rourkela is not only model is not only just stayed in Rourkela. Now it has gone to the Bloomberg Cities Idea Exchange, where more than 40 cities across the Odisha is delivering these innovative solutions. In from the last 1 year, we have been working across various partners, various agents, cold rooms across 15 districts in Odisha, currently in 40 cities, and slowly it is getting expanded to another three states in India in the coming years. And already the feasibility studies of African countries, cities has also been completed. So now the nutshell is that we don't want to just stay this idea to remain in Rourkela. So what we have done in Rourkela, now it is getting spread over to across the globe in terms of state, nations, and the other countries. Now, how do we do the roadmap of implementation? So when we have a question that if any cities or anyone is interested, and how we actually do it. So there are 10 things which we support in this entire program. First, we conduct the feasibility study to select the right sites for the cold room. This is very, very important because we have seen many cold rooms in the past have been lying vacant because they are not being suitable to that location. And that's where the team focuses on how to do the right kind of feasibility study to select the right sites. Then we do a detailed assessment of shortlisted site options and provide the app and have a discussions with the department as to which cold room they should take on a phase 1 level and phase 2 levels sites, and confirm the clearances for cold room constructions. And once they give the approvals, they can begin the procurement process. In that process also, we do support them in whatever manner, like sizing the cold room. In Rourkela also, there are various sizes are involved. Somewhere it is a 10 metric ton, it is a 15, or it is 20 or 30. It is not a standardized like 30 metric ton is usually across all the marketplaces. The reason is that the every market has got a uniqueness, and for that only we do all these studies to give the sizing, and we help them to go with the proper sizing. And then there are certain standard processes like developed by the or notified by the ministry as to what should be the specifications of the cold rooms, if it is going for 20 metric ton or 30 metric ton, and what is the benchmark value for that. And accordingly those things are provided to the government department so that they can initiate or follow the tenders and accordingly select the right vendor to put this cold room on the ground. While putting the cold room on the ground also, wherever required, we do also oversee the installation process, do the testings, do the commissioning, and see that the every quality norms are maintained. Now it is mandatory. It is not mandatory that we give to every cities, but wherever the city wants, we also provide the same. Then we provide the support in identifying the local community groups who can operate it, these cold rooms, as a process of selections. So there is a proper EUI floated, and that is where we support the city administrations to select the right kind of local groups, so that we have the right cold rooms and now the right local operators, so that we can have a proper outcome into it. Then our work starts as operating the mentors, like doing the all kind of mentorship and skill building, training them, providing ongoing support, handholding them. All this comes to the picture and so on. So there are about 10 modules are there. It starts from team building to cold room management to farmer vendor engagement processes, then supply, then how to do the survey, how to do the market linkages. All these things are trained in within this module. Then the next position comes about the farmer vendor engagement. So we understand that the cold room is the right location, the right cold room has been selected. The cold room operators are also been selected. They have been trained. Everything is fine. But who is going to use it? The users are basically the farmers or the vendors. So they should be made aware of why this cold room is all about, how this they can actually take this cold room to use this into their business and grow and so on. So that's where our team do a lot of this awareness program. And we have different varieties to do that and so on. And apart from that, we also do the operational excellence, like how to do the bookkeepings, accountabilities, the processes of cold room maintenance, and so on, so that the entire asset is being properly utilized. And then we also do the digitalization process to see that everything is transparent, everything is utilized. And finally comes the revenue diversification, which I also mentioned. In Rourkela, we have 4 models of revenue diversifications. So when we go to any other cities, we also see that what other cities can do. And that is only to boost the profits during the low storage seasons and so on. So that's all about how we develop the ecosystems. And these ecosystem drivers are these are basically these 4 areas. One is the operator mentorship and skill building, which we mentioned, that daily coaching, handholding is required so that they independently handle it. The second is about the farmer vendor engagement to build awareness, trust, repeat usage by respond to the community needs, creating a transfer process, and so on. And then about the operational excellence, like how this entire assets runs reliably. We have to maintain the quality, meet the daily needs, and so on. And finally, the revenue diversification, which helps the operator to boost the profit during the low income seasons. So we take this as the 4 pillars of our ecosystems and drive the entire ecosystem into it. So I think this is what we have been doing in these cold chain systems, integrating the technology, but again integrating the ecosystem, which is more and more important to drive the profit, to drive the income, and making them more sustainable. Because at the end of the day, we believe that the project what we are doing should be impactful. Definitely, we are doing for the grassroots level entrepreneurs and so on, like the farmers, the SHGs are involved. But second is about it should also be sustainable, self-sustainable. They should raise their own incomes. They should run their entire show by themselves. So that the third point, which is about scalable, would be happening. So impactful, sustainable, scalable is something which we drive into this entire project. So we started with Global Mayor Challenge and now running this program called Bloomberg Cities Idea Exchange. So yeah, so that's about from my end. So I think I would like to take some of the questions from the members.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions now. In the meantime, can you please stop sharing? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll take up the questions now, sir. So the first question is, how do you ensure uninterrupted cooling during cloudy days, monsoons, or at night?
Okay. So in our cold storage solutions, we have integrated solar systems, but along with that, we also have backup grid systems. And third is about the thermal storage. So what happens? When the solar is there, it runs from the solar. If the solar is not there, then the night time and all, it takes the energy from the thermal storage, because the thermal storage are the ones which are gets charged by the solar. And if the thermal storage is also not there, then it takes from the grid systems. So somewhere or other, we have to keep these three backup always, two backup as such, to ensure that we have a reliability of power going across and the cold room is running properly and maintaining the temperature.
Okay. Are there any innovations Cure Fresh has developed specifically for high temperature regions like Odisha?
So we are basically we are more of a service companies trying to develop the ecosystem around the cold rooms, and we channelize all the prospective around it. Say like the cold room, how that has to be run sustainably. The income has to be there. The enough income is there for the operators to operate it. So those aspects, the business aspects, are what we look into it. But apart from that, we develop the digital platforms. So digital platform to see that all the entire operations what we're doing in terms of machines, in terms of datas coming up from the revenue, in terms of digital inventories of the cold room inventory and so on, all these being recorded into our dashboard system. So that's what we develop across.
Okay. What is the approximate investments required for an farmer group or FPO to set up a solar powered cold storage units?
Currently, the benchmark for a 10 metric ton is about 20 lakhs, which includes about 5 years of maintenance, AMC services as well. And there is a subsidy which the government of Odisha is giving, like around 70% subsidy is there, and 30% is borne by the FPOs and the other SSGs and so on.
Okay. Sir, how does the operational cost of a solar cold storage compared with a diesel or grid powered systems?
So basically, the electricity cost is getting reduced by these solar operated systems. So if you consider a 10 metric ton, every month, I think there is a saving of grid electricity by about 6 to 7,000 rupees. And if it is a diesel generated, I think it would be about 15 to 18,000 rupees. So imagine that if it is multiplied for a year, I think it will be coming to the tune of about, say, about 1 to 1.5 lakhs. So that is something which is getting saved by using the green electricity, solar.
Okay. Sir, what is the usual payback period for such installations?
So if we have a proper business managements and everything is integrated into it for various other sources of income and so on, it takes hardly 3 years to get the payback. But
Okay.
if we consider only cold room as a standalone system, then it takes about 8 years, 7 to 8 years.
Okay. Which crops benefit the most from decentralized solar cold storage in Odisha and neighboring states?
Uh, in our case, we are keeping multiple products. So there are multiple vegetables are grown here. So all vegetables are kept inside it. Apart from that, the fruit vendors, they keep like the apple, banana, orange, guava, everything is kept there. Again, some products are like a long storage products. Like apple, we can store for about 3 months to 4 months. A banana, we can store for about 2 months. But when it comes to uh, commodities like brinjal, they can stay about 10 to 12 days. Tomato can stay for about 21 to 25 days. So depending upon the storage requirements and depending upon the production pattern, we can actually reduce that which is more suitable to keep and so on.
Okay. What are the major challenges in scaling solar cold storage across India? Technical, financial, or behavior?
Uh, See, technically, I think there are right now in India, we have already developed a standardized system. It was 4 years back, we would have thought of what should be the standards, but right now, the NCCD, the National Cold Chain Development, as well as the MNRE, the NICE, everyone is associated to develop a standardized products. So, and this document is available across in the public domain. So, for technical things, it is not a problem. But when it comes to the finance, definitely the government is promoting it through different subsidy schemes and so on. There is an MIDS scheme is there, the National Horticulture Mission scheme is there, and even in Odisha also we provide state subsidy and district subsidies as well. So that is helping the farmers and the farmer groups to adopt this kind of solution. But the third component is more important. After the cold room is installed on the ground, what is going to happen? If it stays just idle and there is no business happening, then like it is just a waste for every one of us. So in that case, the Bloomberg Philanthropies, along with our team, we have worked out various plans to see that how every cities or every districts they can adopt a key plans to increase their revenue. So at the end of the day, I think the revenue is important. For the revenue, I think the social development works is very, very important, because this has to be done by the grassroots level entrepreneurs and so on. They should know the nuances, the skill sets as to how to operate it, how to do the business, how to speak with the people and so on. So those are the challenges that we face day in and day out, and we try to do the all the handholding support and so on.
Okay. Are government subsidies or schemes available that support farmers or FPOs to adapt solar cold storage?
Yes, so there is a MITH scheme from the horticulture department is there. For there is a national level, I think, which is about 35 to 35%, and then there are some state schemes are there. In if you see the Odisha as a whole, we have explored more than I think 8 to 9 sources of funding for funding this cold storage. We have World Bank under the OPICRA model, which supported the cold rooms. Then we have the OMBA DC schemes. Then we have the district mineral funds to manage the or the to provide some additional funds for the cold rooms. Then we have other regulatory market committee. They have funds to do that. So in that way, what happens? The farmer only has to pay around 5%, 10%, or 15%, or 20%, depending upon what is the contribution of other areas. So when it goes to other states also, it is advisable that every other department should also explore what is available. And recently we had a learning tour for this cold room, and where we had members coming from different states like Maharashtra. Maharashtra is engaging magnet scheme. Gujarat is also doing lot of, they provide 70% subsidy. So similarly, MP is coming up. Jharkhand is already there with some schemes. So somebody has to engage with those schemes and take the benefit out of it. And the government itself has to also explore that what is available in different departments to converge it and provide the best benefit they can to the stakeholders.
Okay. What advice would you give to small farmers or women group who want to adopt shared cold storage?
Okay. So in our case, if I take, we are also supporting the cooperative. Well, the reason of cooperative, because they are the collectives of small farmers or small women members and or PG groups like producer groups and so on. And the operators are also women, and sometimes the even the users are also basically women. So one advice I would say that if you get good together as a united and be a good cooperative, I think that will help them to grow as a business together, rather than uh, like going in an isolated format. When it comes to like scaling their business also, it's going to help them in terms of market linkage. Because if you go to the market like Reliance or any corporates, they don't want like 50 or 60 kilo of tomatoes. They want 5,000 kilo of tomato. Now, how that should be done? It can only be done if small farmers get together, united. And this cold room is one of the opportunity, or a platform is given where they can showcase that. They can get bounded together and think big on this.
Okay.
So yeah, so we also run
Sir,
something called championship program in in our project, where we see that if any farmer is repeatedly keeping inside the cold room, we wanted to see that how they can grow. So if he's bringing 50 kilo or 100 kg a day to a marketplace, how in the next 6 months or 1 year he should be able to, or she should be able to bring about 500 kilo in the market. And that's what the team works and see that what should be the roadmap for them. And so this is possible. So all the small farmers and so on, if they can be actually given some kind of a SOP or a guideline, I think that will help them to grow in that way.
Okay. What opportunity do you see for startups in agri-logistics and solar-powered infrastructure?
I think that there's a huge scope for the startups out there. We also started as a startup now. So because the horticulture areas, there are a lot of things to be worked on. There are a lot of things to be channelized. Things has to be formalized. We see that after the cold storage raw materials are marketed, the excess, we want to do it through the processing methodology. So can the startups work on the food processing areas, which is a large areas to look into it, and the government is also providing a lot of support in terms of PMFME schemes and so on. So there are various schemes are there which the startups can adopt to look into the food processing, the market linkage, even export also. In Odisha, we have also been trying to export various commodities like mango and turmeric and so on. So there are possibility that how we can take this commodity to the international level.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. We have now completed the round of questions on behalf of agricultureinformation.com. We would like to thank Mr. Ashutosh Nayak for the talk and for answering the questions. This meeting will now be closed.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir.